Welcome into another edition of Meet the Bird Gang. Today we're joined by a 2019 Orleans Firebird. He also spent time with Team USA and is most noted for his 2 years as a Georgia Bulldog. It's right-handed pitcher Cole Wilcox. Cole, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem.
So the first thing, let's get right into your summer on Cape Cod. You only spent a few weeks in Orleans, so I just want to know what your experience was like in your short stint as a Firebird.
No, yeah, it was great. Like you said, I was there for a short time. But I met a lot of good guys I'm still in touch with today, pretty close to. And obviously Skip, Coach Kelly, he's a great guy, great coach. We had a great staff there as well that summer. I really enjoyed it. It was everything it cracked up to be.
So there's the fun aspect of Cape Cod, but you're also still developing as a ball player with all the immense talent there. What was the maybe most important or crucial thing you learned playing with the Orleans?
Yeah, I learned a lot. And the biggest thing I learned was just being able to stay on the routine. As you know, in the Cape, the weather is pretty unpredictable. You never know when it's going to rain and stuff like that. So just staying on a routine was the biggest thing, staying disciplined, not getting caught up in a rain delay, just taking the full day off, but continuing to work through that. And I think it helped me out a lot in that area, more mental than anything.
You mentioned that unpredictable weather. Sometimes those rain days just come out of nowhere. So what were some of the things you and the guys would do maybe when you weren't playing baseball on the Cape?
I did a lot of fishing up there. That's what I like to do. So I did a lot of that. A couple of the guys would always get with me. And then we just go hang out at somebody's house. The College World Series was on while I was there, so we'd watch some of that. Really just hang out, and that's kind of when you get close to the guys and do those rain delays. So we enjoyed them.
What was your fishing spot up on the Cape?
I would just go to different lakes. I was largemouth bass fishing, which isn't what it's known for. If I had to say they're longer, I'd probably fish for stripes a little more than I did. But, I never had much luck, but it was still fun to get out there. We had a kayak, so I just get out there, get to myself, and paddle around.
Do you have a best fishing story? It didn't have to be from the Cape, but at any point, any wild fishing adventures?
Well, last year, me and Jeff Pramble, we walked to this, it's like a state park, and we were kind of waded out in there. We kind of took off our shoes and waded out in there, and we caught some back there. It was pretty fun. We caught a couple bass and a pike. I had no idea how to take a pike off the line. I saw the teeth on it, and luckily it just flopped itself off. I guess that's the best story I got.
All right, so I spoke with Coach Kelly a couple of days ago, and he described you as a big, strong, power arm, power fastball, power slider. Has that always been your game plan? Have you always had that size and strength, or is that something that developed maybe later on in high school or college?
Yeah, it's something I've always had. I've always been pretty tall. Kind of just started filling in the last couple of years. But I've always had a pretty good arm, and all my stuff's been pretty hard. And it was just kind of harnessing in was where I started to really learn how to pitch. And that kind of happened over this summer, the end of the first of this year, really kind of dialing in my stuff to where I wasn't just throwing everything as hard as I could, but it was more of really pitching.
Obviously, you spent a lot of time with your Georgia teammates during the spring, and I know guys on their college team talk shop about pitching. How does that work on the Cape when you're bringing arms from all across the country? Are you guys working on things with each other, showing each other little tips or hints with certain pitches, or is it more, don't want to give away too much of my arsenal?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, everybody's got their own routines and their own philosophy on pitching. But it's definitely good to bounce ideas off different people. Throughout the year, you're around the same group of guys all year, so you kind of learn everything from them pretty quick. And so you go to a place like Orleans, and you got guys from all over with a bunch of different coaches. You can definitely pick up some stuff. I learned a lot. We had a lot of good arms while I was there. And, that's definitely one of the perks of being there is learning a lot from different people and different ideas. Anything
particular you learned from a certain guy? Because there's a lot of you who are moving up to possibly draft day this year.
Yeah, nothing super in particular. More just learning how to pitch with the stuff that I had. I would watch guys like Adam Seminaris and guys like that who really knew how to pitch. They helped me out a lot, just learning how to mix stuff up. Pitching backwards at times, they really helped out.
So your few weeks stint in the Cape ended because you made the college national team. You went to play with Team USA, representing your country. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I was definitely sad to leave Orleans, but obviously excited for the opportunity. And it was something that's once in a lifetime. Being able to go overseas and play, represent your country in a place where it's really you versus everybody else. It was a fun experience for sure. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about their culture, the different way baseball's played, and it's definitely something I'd recommend.
What was the transition like going from Orleans to playing at the Coliseum? Because Coach Nicholson said those games on the Cape, aside from Team USA, are probably your best 5 amateur baseball games in the country going on each night. Team USA is another level. So what was that transition?
Yeah, the practices were where it was most competitive. It was, some of the best guys in the country and inter squads. It was pretty fun to watch. I pitched the first night, so I was able to just kind of kick back the next couple of nights and watch everybody go at it. And you definitely learn a lot more there, like we talked about, being able to bounce ideas off different guys. And then obviously you see the hitters and how good they are, and you have to really learn how to miss barrels and but still be in attack mode. So it was definitely a good experience. Competition brings out the best in everybody, and especially when you're competing with the best.
So between, I guess, scrimmages and practice and working out there or the games you pitched in, who was the toughest at bat at the national stage?
The toughest at bat was probably Spencer Torkelson. He was a Cape guy too. He's just a really good hitter, knows his zone really well, barrels up everything. And I thought Heston Kerstad was as well. I thought those two guys were two of the best guys that I faced.
So you moved from Orleans to the national team with one of your Firebirds teammates who we spoke to, Andrew Abbott, and we heard you guys are pretty close. So what's your relationship like with Andrew?
Yeah, I met Andrew in Orleans. I actually roomed with him while I was there. So, yeah, we became pretty tight. I knew he was going to USA, so that made the transition a lot easier. And, yeah, he's a really good pitcher, really good arm. Definitely a guy you want taking the ball from you when he comes out of the bullpen.
What were some of the things – were you see a big fisher with you guys or?
I don't know if he ever went with us or not. I think he wanted to go golfing some. I never got around to that because it rained pretty much every day we were there. But he was – I don't know if he ever went with us or not.
All right, so I want to jump back a few years to your senior year of high school, 2018. You're coming out as a senior, and you were a projected first-round pick, but you also were committed to the University of Georgia. What went into your decision that going to UGA was right for you as a high school senior? Yeah,
I knew I had a lot of maturing to do as a pitcher. And that's something I felt like I had a good relationship with Coach Kenny at UGA, and I really felt like he could get me better. And that was the main what went into that decision, was just knowing that if I went to Georgia, I felt like I'd really improve. And I knew I had a lot of improving to do, a lot to learn about pitching, and so that's really what went into the decision the most. A lot of prayer, and that's ultimately what led me there.
If you had to pick one thing that's helped you grow the most as a pitcher, what would it be from your time at Georgia?
Fastball command. Everything works off that. And when everything else leaves you always have your fastball, and that's something I had to learn, is being able to locate that. And that, I would say, that really didn't happen until over this summer. Some stuff I picked up in Orleans and at USA both went into that, and it helped me out a lot the first part of the spring when we were still playing. And I felt really confident being able to throw that wherever I wanted, and everything else works off of that.
So obviously, draft time is rolling around once again. June 10th is the 2020 MLB Draft. You are once again a projected first rounder. So congratulations on that. What makes now, in your eyes, the right time to make a leap for pro ball?
Well, I'm really in the same position with us getting our year back. I feel like that obviously I still have a lot I need to improve, and I know that if I came back to Georgia, I'd do that. And obviously, if it works out to go the other way, that's a childhood dream fulfilled for sure. So I feel like I'm in a win-win position either way. And I guess the difference from high school would be, it's one unknown and one known. Out of high school, it was two unknowns. I didn't know what college was like, and I didn't know what pro ball was like. But now I know I have college to fall back on. I know it's a place that I love, a place that I'd improve. But then obviously, going pro would be a dream come true.
How is the draft preparation or training going right now? Obviously, we're in unprecedented times. Things have started to open up a little bit down south, but what have you been able to do to stay fresh and stay active in baseball?
I've still been lifting pretty consistently. We have a gym we've been able to go to. I've been going at least 3 or 4 days a week to that. So that's been pretty consistent the whole time, which has been good to continue to build strength while we're off. And then throwing wise, I kind of took a step back. I'm not throwing bullpens or long tossing right now. Just staying in good enough shape to where when it's time to ramp back up, I'll be able to do that.
So obviously at Georgia, you guys have a very good pitching staff. You set records as a staff overall as your time there. You alongside Emerson Hancock are two of these names that people know or should know going into this draft. Is this process you guys are you doing it together, or is it kind of separated? You're taking your own route on it?
Yeah, me and Emerson talk a lot, and we've been pretty close since I got on campus. I learned a lot from him pitching wise, and even life wise. He's just a good dude, a role model, and so yeah, going through this with him is definitely beneficial. We all have to do the same stuff, so knowing that I have him to fall back on is definitely a big help.
Before we wrap this up, I like to end all of these with a little game. It's called The Cycle.
All right.
With 4 questions, a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. And they're going to get a little, I guess, tougher or a little more thought involved as we go on. So, you ready?
Yep.
First question, single. What's one thing that Cole Wilcox has to do before every game he pitches?
I'm not a big superstitious guy, so I don't have anything like that. I guess the thing for me would just be stay loose. I don't like to get real tight. I don't like to get kind of locked into like 30 minutes before the game when I start stretching. Up to that point, I kind of stay myself, stay loose, cut up, and just, don't try to make it bigger than it is.
So you talked about fishing as one of your hobbies. Aside from that, what are 2 things that most people may not know about you as a person, not necessarily a ball player?
Right. 2 things that people may not know. I guess going along with fishing, I like to be outdoors. Anything hunting, fishing, camping, anything like that, hiking. That's stuff that I like to do. Second, it's tough. Man, I don't know. Let me think on that. Let's go to the triple first. I'll come back to it.
All right. The triple, what are your 3 favorite meals or places to go eat?
All right. First would probably be a steak with a sweet potato. That'd be my best. That'd be my main meal. That's a go-to pretty much anywhere I go. Longhorn, Outback, anywhere like that. Second, I like pizza, and I like to try different kinds. Different places, not really different kinds. I like pepperoni and mushroom. That's my go-to on pizza-wise. And then third is a good grilled hamburger.
Does that change at all? Let's say you're on a road trip with the team, spring season, you guys are out, you're going to get food. What's the go-to spot there with the guys?
Usually somewhere cheap. But, sandwiches, something like that. That's usually always pretty good in big cities. Just kind of local stuff. Try some stuff out.
What's the best local food you've been able to try around the SEC even?
We got some barbecue when we went to on our way to Hoover, and that was some of the best that I've had.
All right, you have something for that double question, or are we going?
Go to the next. Go to the next one. I'll come back to it.
All right, home run question. This one's a little more baseball-centric. Taking into account all the levels you've played of the game, from Little League to where you are now, all the teams you've played on over that time, what is the single most memorable baseball story or moment you have?
I would think it'd be last year during our run, during the first game of the SEC tournament. Our shortstop, Cam Shepard, hit a walk-off home run. And to start off the tournament, and that just kind of set the tone. And that was probably the best baseball memory I've had. It was just, you saw how hard Shep worked all year, and for him to be able to do that was pretty special.
It's interesting. A lot of guys talk about it. Maybe an individual accolade, that's it, but team moment, that's
yeah, for sure.
That was big to have going in.
That was definitely a good team moment.
Is there anything you're looking? So you have a double answer, or we can go a few more to let you mull over?
I guess it would just be that I have a big family that I'm pretty close to. My immediate family isn't very big. It's just my mom, dad, and sister. But my dad has 2 sisters, and they all have kids. And then my mom has a brother who has kids. And we're all pretty close. Always been close. And I guess that's something that a lot of people don't know about me.
Was baseball your family's sport, or?
Yeah, actually, my mom played basketball in college, and my dad played football. So baseball, my mom played softball. My dad played baseball, but not after high school. So I was the first one to do that. Basketball was my first love growing up, but that transitioned into baseball.
What's your favorite thing about baseball? You're out there stepping on the rubber, center of the diamond. What's running through your head?
Yeah, I guess what I like most about baseball is when I'm on the mound, I kind of control the game. Nothing can get faster than my pace. Nothing gets slower than my pace. I pretty much dictate that. The hitter has to be ready when I'm ready, and that's probably what I like most about it.
Around the baseball environment, obviously, you're going to get close with teammates. What's maybe the best story or funniest thing that's ever happened to you and your teammates on the road or before a game, after a game?
Let me think. I bet last year when we went to Mississippi State, we were pretty highly ranked going in, and actually Emerson was he had just kind of tweaked something in his back, so he was out that weekend. And I remember we were out shagging BP before, and that, you know how Mississippi State is, it filled up pretty quick. And they were giving Emerson a hard time, saying he was just trying to save his ERA. He shouldn't, he didn't want to pitch against them. And we all got a pretty good kick out of that. They were giving it to him pretty good.
Is it easy to kind of ignore the fans and stuff like that? I know the SEC crowds can get pretty reckless.
Yeah, it really is. It's all in fun. And that's how all stadiums should be, in my opinion. That's the best environment. They create an unbelievable home field advantage for them. And yeah, it was pretty fun to experience that weekend.
All right. And one final thing would be, based off your time in the Cape, we'll end it back in Orleans. This 2020 Firebirds roster that was compiled isn't going to get a chance to play up there. What makes the Cape so special, and what are those guys missing out on?
Yeah, I think it's the history. Everybody knows about the Cape. That's kind of your dream as a kid when you get in college ball is to go play in the Cape. You see the movies about it, all that stuff, and it's just got such a rich history. The fans are very, very loyal to the teams. Obviously, they're going to show up. They love it. That's kind of the highlight of their summer. And it's kind of like, your town against everybody else's, and you kind of grow. That town kind of becomes home, and that's probably what's most memorable about the Cape and what they're going to miss out on.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Cole. Once again, right-handed pitcher of the Georgia Bulldogs, Team USA, and the Orleans Firebirds, Cole Wilcox. Thank you so much for taking the time. That's all we have on Meet the Bird Gang.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.